My brother Sean Ryan was wrongfully convicted in 1984. While serving time at Auburn Correctional Facility, he was charged with an arson murder of another inmate, Paul Carbonaro, and the late Peter Corning, each of whom have a very long history of wrongful convictions and misconduct. Their misconduct had several overturned convictions. A few years later, now Peter Corning was sitting on the bench as a Supreme Court judge, and Paul Carbonaro was the new DA. There are many more individuals who are still in prison today, including my brother, who were maliciously prosecuted by these individuals. The aforementioned officials coerced, threatened, and bribed jailhouse informants to commit perjury against my brother. There is substantial evidence to support these claims. My brother, Sean Ryan, and his case and his wrongful conviction is the catalyst to pros and cons. Hi, and welcome to Pros and Cons. My name is Heather Trentacosta, and today I have a very special guest. His name is Travis Raybon, and he is currently serving time for a few crimes, and we want to get into the crux of exactly how he ended up where he is and the miscarriages of justice that took place along the way. So I'm going to introduce you now to Travis Raybon. Hi, Travis. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And I want to say thank you for this moment to be heard after going through this cycle for 13 years as of now. And I just want to say thank you so much, Heather, for allowing me to come forth. And I'm basically here to set the record straight.
Absolutely. And I want to open by telling a little bit about the charges that you were convicted for, and two of which I'm just going to put this out there to the audience, so there are no questions whatsoever. One is a murder charge, and the other is a rape charge. And I know, you hear those, and there's an automatic stigma and judgment, public judgment when you hear those kind of charges, and we usually just take them at face value, and you're just written off now as a rapist and a killer. But fortunately for Travis's own sake, he's been very diligent in keeping track of every misstep, I want to say, by officials. And there's also a lot of corruption involved in the county and surrounding areas where this all occurred. So if you would give us an idea of what went on that fateful day when you were charged.
Well, let me state this. My time is restricted sometimes, so I do have 15 minutes, so I don't want to drag anything out. And I'm glad you brought that to the listeners' attention. And I will get straight to the point. And with that being stated, for those charges to be alleged from my studies, and for the record, I am now working to become a paralegal. And with that being stated, on this terrible day, I thought I have a friend. And with that being stated, they left and came back to the house. So with that being stated, they had time upon leaving and coming back. So everything that you just stated happened as second contact. So with that being stated, if anything or any alleged crime would have happened, it would have happened the first time. This is what the back of what you mean about the corruption, that just backing that up, why did they leave and come back? Mm-hmm. So now it's showing intent. It was never intent on my behalf to harm or do anything to anyone, because at that moment in time, I was a security officer. Mm-hmm. And with that being stated, it was my ex-fiance birthday on that date and time. And I was coming in, as a matter of fact, she was getting ready to get off work as well at 10 o'clock. She worked as a medical assistant. And for the record, this is not the one that this was alleged done to. My ex-fiance is not the one, because the news has misconstrued it when they came up and denied. My Supreme Court said that it was my fiance. So how did the news get this wrong? Yeah. So I just want to clear the record on that. Okay. And so with that being stated, I thought I had a friend in the sense of trying to help someone, because it happened all during Christmas time. This is a time of giving and things of that nature. Plus, I had a son as well. So, with that being stated, for those charges to come about, it was more say coming from the alleged victim stating these things, but evidence did not prove murder. Evidence did not prove rape. And what it did prove on rape was no DNA from the GBI report.
Right. We'll get into a little bit more about the evidence that was discovered and how it was discovered, because that's an interesting aspect to this whole case as well. But from what you've told me, now there were 3 individuals involved, 2 women and a man. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And they visited Travis looking, they were looking for money. They were, looking for a handout of some sort. When he couldn't give them what they wanted, they left. So it was all peaceful, all good. They left. And this is even according to the statements on record. So upon returning, there was sort of a shakedown, like they were trying to rob you, if I'm not mistaken.
It was an extortion of funds, because the thing initially, I made the call to a friend and was explaining to me that they were about to get evicted. Mm-hmm. And during Christmas time, this is like, again, I said it was time of my fiance's birthday. Mm-hmm. So the thing about it, I gave a pre-offer situation that she can make her some money, mm-hmm. in the sense of I wasn't going to give you anything, but I can show you the attributes to be able to assist you maybe to not get evicted, because I had a heart. So I'm like, okay, I want to see you evicted during Christmas time. Okay. But I didn't know of the essence of what and how it was going to come about this day, that day, brother. I'm sorry. And when it came about, I should have never initiated to even invite you to not to my place, but I was saying, meet me somewhere and I can meet you at the gas station. But when I gave the aspects of telling you where I was located at, you took it upon yourself to say, well, I know where that's at and I'm coming there. I never invited no one to my place, because prior to me moving to my residence, I was robbed at my other residence and I was pistol whipped. So then from that, I was traumatized. So I moved from that place and moved to my then location to be able to, safeguard myself, because now I have a child, I have a potential fiance, so I have to protect my family.
And now you mentioned earlier that you were a security guard and you were now off duty, just getting off work when all of this started to unfold. And with that position, you had a firearm. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So he had a firearm in his home, and something else that you had told me previously is that you made sure that you took you had the safety on, and you took those precautions so that there would be no accidental shootings or anything like that. You were practicing gun safety with your own with your own gun. So in this crime, or the way it unfolded and what I read according to police reports, his gun was used against him by one of the quote unquote victims in this case. And it was held to his head and the trigger was pulled. So the fact that he had taken those precautions, the gun did not fire. It clicked, it didn't fire. So there, if you want to take that and read, there's access to all of these documents, and we'll provide links for all of that as well. There's a Facebook page supporting Justice for Travis as well. So everything that we're saying, there's documentation to back it up. And it can all be, it's for public consumption now. And, you can see for yourself what exactly went down and how it went down. So the story is that the two women were raped by Travis in his home. And again, he stated earlier that this was his fiance's birthday. He was preparing to have,
And I'm preparing to propose to her.
right. Okay. So that
Basically.
was the day that he was to propose, and it wasn't in the plans for him to be entangled in any of this. So I just wanted to point that one thing out, that a gun was held to his head and the trigger was pulled. One of the female quote unquote victims in this case, who held a gun to this man's head, pulled the trigger. And as you heard already, he had already been assaulted previously before moving into his new home, and had been pistol whipped. And if I'm not mistaken, were you still recovering from that at that time?
It was, as a matter of fact, I had 15 staples in my head at the time. So with that being stated, now what I have learned by being incarcerated, PTSD is a very, very, very critical thing. And with that being stated, the actions that was alleged and contributed to that terrible event was triggered. Now I understand that it puts you back into that traumatizing situation by me and not just that time, but prior to that time being wrong, another incident of a trauma happened. So with that being stated, it's compiled. So now I'm learning during that time what I didn't know now. When these things took place, it triggered into the traumatic experience that I experienced prior to that day.
So when the trigger was pulled, what exactly did you hear, and were you knew that the safety was on?
And the main reason why that it was to get to loosen a lot of things. I want to go back to what you stated about my gun safety. When I went into my home, I always remove a bullet from the chamber because I never leave it loaded inside the house because my child is there, and I don't want my ex then fiance to touch it and it goes off by accidentally. So with that being stated, had I not done those things, I wouldn't be here talking to you all today.
Correct.
So with that being stated, what I heard was the pin drop in that gun and it triggered, and that what sparked me like, wow, you're trying to kill me. Yeah. Now I'm in defense mode to protect myself. And again, I want to set the record straight. This all happened the second time coming to my residence.
So they had left and returned, and then all of this transpired. Now, so what happened once you heard that pin drop? What was your response and or reaction?
To get the one that's in front of me off of me because it was trying to pull me, and then by it not going off, I don't know the person that's behind me. I don't know if you racking the round into the gun. My whole essence is get that weapon out of your hand. Stop the lethal threat. And then with that being stated, once I turned around due to the altercation, that what led to the altercation, I turns around, I was struck in the face with the gun on my nose, tried to break my nose. And so with that being stated, that's when I got a hold to the gun. When I got a hold to the gun, that's when things slowly tried to come back to par. So now it's like, okay, once I have the upper hand, when you tried to pull the trigger and allegedly, now I'm seeing it could have killed me. That's what led to the issue. Because if anybody was in that situation, what would you have done when you have a weapon and the trigger was pulled?
Well, in some states, we actually have laws that protect gun owners or homeowners, or just in your residence that protect you. And it's the stand your ground law, where if you are threatened, that you can use deadly force and it's justified or justifiable. Now, the young woman who pulled the trigger is not the not the one who died that day. Is that correct?
Correct.
And
Correct.
the fortunate thing about that is she lived to be able to actually corroborate what you're saying right now. And she admitted that she did this.
Exactly.
So that is in writing. Yet he was
she testified. Correct.
And the young lady who lost her life that day, can you give us a little bit of insight as to how she died?
Okay, in all due respect, I know this is a very tedious situation to even speak on. And just for the record, when I was going to trial, what sat in me the most is that my trial counsel just basically coached me along to be this monster in which they alleged, and how they're saying things, from my understanding, how things were said on the computer. I don't know how things was conveyed on the internet, as they say. So with that being stated, due to the altercation, from me moving this individuals in front of me to push them out the way. So my opinion in the aspects the person had hit their head. So what my understanding was when I went to trial, they said strangulation. And I told my lawyer, I said, no, it didn't happen that way. This happened the second time they coming back of me trying to defend myself by getting this weapon off of one's hand. So basically I was attacked at the same time. And some may say, how is this and how is that? It's just corroborating. No, you don't have to take my word for it. What I am saying is in black and white. These are records. That's why I'm here to set the record straight.
Right. And this is all really what sparked my interest in the story, because things didn't seem to match up with the charges that were brought against him. Another aspect of this was the rape charge or charges. Right. Now, I read the forensics on all of this, and the well, he was charged with rape, but there was no evidence to show that Mr. Raybon actually raped or sexually assaulted either of these women. There was, however, exculpatory evidence collected from a rape kit that showed 4 different DNA samples, different individuals, and none of which matched Mr. Raybon.
Correct.
There was a hair. I'm not sure what the hair was, or but they used a single hair that was found on the victim to use against him as evidence of a rape.
And the thing that, like, just to set the record, like, let me just clarify some things for you. What they did was they used a testimony from the other alleged victim. And just for the record, I just want to say this before going no further. Only reason why I'm coming out this way, because I want the families to know I did not do this to your child. And that's God-having truth, because I am a man of God and I have a heart. Now, if things was coming out how I'm saying it now, the outcome would have been different. Now, get back to what you were saying. This is why I'm coming out. This is why I've been fighting for years and years and years and years to get to this day. So for all my listeners, you can take it as face value. You can take it however you feel, in the sense of not saying that I don't care. I want you to know from the record I am speaking. So with that being stated, the way that they said DNA was found, one, they took the rape to the essence of this. Under all due respect, the other alleged victim, the one that shot me in the head, has a criminal record. So the credibility of me raping them come from her. And with that being stated, beforehand, there was the other one, God, all due respect, they were trying to say that I raped the other one. But with that being stated, that was the 4 DNA that was found. All due respect. And I pray that no one take this out of context.
Right, of course.
But my whole point is this. The one that has deceased, God bless, all due respect, the one that deceased was the one that found 4 different DNA.
Mhm.
And that was the one that was trying to listen. And when I told her, no, I'm not going to go there with you,
Mhm.
that came out.
And
But
that's
one
when
thing
that's
that
when the
you-
attack began. When you refused their sort of advances to get to what was the word you used? They were trying to extort you to get money.
Basically, and I had
Okay.
money on me then.
Mhm.
And dude, we're going to get to this point too. I had money in my house. And
Mhm.
somehow when the search was done, my funds.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay, yeah.
We'll get
So
to that.
let's jump to that right now. This is so if that is not shocking enough for you all who are listening to this story, because I'm enraged on the inside. When I read it, it it woke a beast inside of me. How can we bring these sorts of charges? Okay, fine, you bring the charges, but then when you investigate and you analyze and all of this, how is it lawful? How is it possible in this country that we can prosecute an individual on this level with not only nothing to back it up, a person who's defended his own life in his own home?
Second time you come into my place.
Right, the second, right. So they didn't feel a
No.
threat, they returned.
There you go. Thank you.
You know, it just did, none of this made sense to me. None of it made sense. We need to change things. We need to expose stories like Travis's. We need to get him the legal and lawful relief that he requires now, the post-conviction relief that he requires now. And we need to do this immediately. There needs to be a change immediately. Of course, that's not going to happen immediately, but
True.
you know, once the word gets out, we can start to make changes. But so I wanted to catch my breath.
And Heather.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
And I want to say this too, to tie in some loose screen. Now, from my understanding, they said DNA was found on the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for all the listeners, of course you will have DNA, meaning an altercation. If I touch you, if I grab you, that's called DNA from your fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
For my
Touch
study,
DNA.
and now I'm about to be a paralegal and certified in October. So I'm speaking not just from a layman. I am training myself. I'm a Blackstone student right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
About to be becoming a certified paralegal. So with that being stated, let me just say this so I can clear the record for this right here. Now, when I went to trial, not to miss anything because I know where we're going, but I want to state this. When I went to trial, GBI testified and said it was non-sperm cell DNA.
Right.
Okay?
So
that
that's
meaning it did not come from the penis. Okay. So this is what the DA construed to the public. So y'all, whoever listening, now the record is set straight. The DNA did not come from my genitals. It come from the altercation of me trying to move people out the way and who pulled the trigger and put the gun to my head. So anytime you touch anybody, you have skin cells from your fingers, sweat, that can come off. And that's why my understanding from what Renisha was telling me when she read it on the internet, DNA on the ladder. So, okay, if this is a high profile case, now, if it's on the ladder, be direct with what you're saying. Don't leave it for speculations. Don't play on people's feelings and emotions to convict me because of how people feel. Now, if you're a public official, use evidence. If you say I am beyond a reasonable doubt, now the first doubt you have, you left my house and came back. Why? But now, since they couldn't overcome that, now it's time to get nasty. Now it's time to get corrupt because all we want is conviction. Because we're going to look like a fool if we don't convict this kid because we know what we initiated. And now since it's stuck.
Can't hear.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So with that being stated, I'm sucking my time. That's what happens with my time.
Okay.
Now, with that being stated, this what happened. Now you initiated, put me on the news. You said I'm these despicable charges, unspeakable charges. So if you just hear the charges, you don't want to hear nothing I have to say.
Right.
Because you're presuming that these public officials who have been voted and elected to be in these positions, that they are correct. No, don't get me wrong. Not all officers, not all officials are corrupt. You have to have people in position to protect and serve.
Mm-hmm.
The system is not corrupt. It's the individuals inside, and not all of them are. It's not a black and white thing. Let me just state that. It's about corruption and greed type of thing, and power and oppressing the minorities because you can.
Mm-hmm.
You wasn't put in those positions to be able to do what you want. You are public servants. We the people. You serve us. We don't serve you, because without our votes, you won't be in that office.
That's right.
So with that being stated, this is what came about for them to do what they did in this case.
The next part of this that I want to get into could have eliminated this whole thing, which is the search warrant. Let's jump on that search warrant right now that nobody can seem to find.
Exactly.
All right.
I'm glad you brought this up. I did have contingencies and funds on me at the time. So for the state to say that they came and they didn't find no money there, now it's my word against theirs. I can say anything. I can say this and that. But one thing about it, this warrant issue was basically the time frame going in before they had the warrant. And no, now I'm speaking from aspects of my studies. It's not some speaking of out of anger or anything. I'm speaking from the terms of what has been said and done. You went into my house at a certain time and you got the warrant executed at a certain time. So basically 3:10, 2:30. You went in my house at 2:30. Signed a warrant at 3:10. So now they said exigent circumstance, or they went in there when we had the right to go in. Now, some things I can't get into legal wise because of I am now, just for the record, now a nonprofit organization has picked my case up, Bridge to Justice. So I was told by my legal team not to elaborate on the too much in depth on the legal aspect.
Okay.
And that's why I'm touching basis on the warrant. But just to get to the point for my listeners to hear, it was a legal search and seizure. And with that being stated, things were moved around the house. And this warrant was logged in, the things that were seized at the house, January the 6th, 2009. But this alleged act happened December 28, 2008. So why you wait till a whole nother year to log in evidence if I had used these things to harm someone? Why? And with that being stated, now just to show and prove, I had a weapon, but my gun was never discharged. Why would I have to hurt or harm someone when it's so simple just to pull the trigger?
Right. Yeah.
So this is the second time you come to my house, but I had enough restraint not to go beyond knowing that I had a gun put to my head and got struck. I had enough control not to pull that trigger.
Right.
Now, I'm sorry for the loss, but due to the altercation that I did not initiate, this is why the loss came about. Because you came to my place the second time, and all of a sudden, they keep telling me when I request for this search warrant, I have 2 statements from the court that convicted me saying, oh, we have no such records of this warrant. You can contact the magistrate court. One time, 2018. So now, just to bring a lot to the forefront and send a record straight, no one is holding office that prosecuted me. The judge, he has retired. He had 14 months on his term. DA, Richard Reed. Yes, I'm stating his name because he resigned before his term was over with. So my point is this, what I'm saying is wrong. If I'm not speaking the truth, come forth and correct me because I'm setting the record straight today. So with that being stated, why did you resign? You was the one that prosecuted me. Now, my trial counsel, Michael Scott Waldrop, bar number 00580, was a city attorney and the city solicitor for this county, which I was convicted in. He's not the city attorney no more. Clerk of court. She's not the clerk of court no more. So all the ones that prosecute are not holding office. That's why I say the system is not corrupt, it's the individuals. So I'm not gonna bash the officers, because you got some good officers out there. You have some great judges, you have some stand-up individuals in that position. So this is the point of having balance. Justice or balance. Don't have it one too much side because you can, but don't be too over to the left side. Balance it out. And that's what I'm here today, to balance it out. And no, I'm not badgering all police, and no, I'm not badgering all judges, because we all have a life, we all have a job, we all have a duty as people here in society, was public official or regular civilians, to coincide with each other. So with that being stated, none of those hold in office. So I got another statement in 2021 recently saying that they don't have the warrant. So what I did was I sent a certified mail and a tracking number, and I still haven't heard no response to this day. So where's this warrant? I don't have the warrant though. Why you can't produce it? Now it's time to set the record straight. Produce it. Why is you convicting me of these heinous crimes and these despicable things, but you don't have this warrant though?
Right.
You don't have the things to basically say that I did this, and so on the ledge. Why?
Right. And I think that because they did things the wrong way with the whole search or illegal search, they were almost forced into a corner now to get that conviction, so that you maybe, and this is all speculation on my part, and I'm trying to make sense of this. Exactly. So the only thing that makes sense in my mind is that if they did things that they weren't supposed to, if they would have been found to be wrong or, misconduct, any of that, they would require a conviction so that they would not be held accountable for all of that. But that in and of itself should have gotten this whole case dismissed, but it wasn't.
You would think so.
Yeah.
And see, I now getting to my lawyer, my family paid this counsel over $90,000. And this is for all my listeners. Now pay attention to this. This counsel was paid in full, $90,000 within 6 to 7 months of retaining him. So with that being stated, now you are paying in full $50,000. First it was $25,000. Now it came to $55,000. So that's $75,000 right there. Then you still ask them for more funds to get forensics experts to see what was the true initial cause of death, and it wasn't strangulation. This is why I went to trial. This is why I say, no, I didn't do that. So me trusting this counsel, basically, in my opinion, not legal opinion, my opinion, you sold me out. I'm not saying it because I'm angry. I'm not saying this in the sense of just because it sounds good. You was a city attorney. You knew this. And I did not waive my counsel-free conflict of interest Constitution Amendment. I did not waive it. But being a kid, all of a sudden go from having a 9 to 5, having a family, about to be married, and all of a sudden these heinous things just happen. Boom, my life just snatched away. And just as well as I say for the family, I understand your loss, but I did not initiate this. And no, I'm not just trying to blame fault. I'm just taking attributes and accountability is why I'm speaking today. So with that being stated, he knew, my trial counsel knew he didn't supposed to work for me. We didn't know, my family didn't know.
Right, but there was a conflict.
This is the point I speak of. This is the point I speak of. Not all public officials are corrupt. It's not the system, it's the one, certain individuals. I'm just stating
right, and we need to, and what we need to do,
now.
We need to filter them out now and really take hold of our judicial system. And we need to put the right individuals who are seeking justice and not seeking convictions. That's what we need to do. Yes.
And let me state the record too for all my listeners. It was an attempt on my life because I'm coming forth. They may try to shut me up. They may try to pay people off to keep me and say that I'm deranged, or they could try to put me in a medical facility and say, oh, well, he's this and this and that, and try to shut me up. So I'm coming out boldly, not in the sense to agitate nothing, but to speak my truth on this side of what truly took place, because you're hearing it from me and no one else.
Right, right. Well,
so I want to state that for record again. It could be an attempt because these people are in a position of power. So they want to keep power and keep this prestigious look in the public eye. Who am I? He just a kid. He's a liar. He's this. I heard that so much when I went to trial. It brought tears to my eyes. These people put a 50,000 voltage shot belt around my waist to keep me to shut up. And so when they put me in prison, my opinion, it may have hoped that I get killed or die, because having these type of charges in prisons is just a stigma that you'll basically get assaulted. Right. And on a couple of occasions, I have. I'm not ashamed to admit it, but yet and still I earn my respect to make it to this day. And no, I'm not saying I'm just this big barbarian type of person. It comes with the territory and being in prison. And once people know my true character, things start to subside. I started to have details around other females. And they said, Rayvon, you know, I look you up. It just don't seem like your character. I said, yes, ma'am, never give up. That's why I fight. Never give up. You never know what you're going to face in life. Never give up. And I'm living proof to this day. I'm not just saying it because it sounds good. I'm walking each and every year, each and every day, sleeping on these bunks, being humiliated, stripped naked, whatever you may call it. But the fact of the matter is, having these type of stigma and these words and these charges on you can turn a person a blind eye to you, not want to hear you. Yes, I've been assaulted, I've been down because of these charges. Yes, I'm coming forth and saying it, but yet and still I never gave up. Now, if I let that break me, then who am I? How could I be the voice of many who cannot speak? How would I be able to come forth? I'm living proof that God is real and he will sustain you and never give up. And with that being said, I even lost my mother in 2015. That's more agony, more duress, more scrutiny, but I never gave up. But this council knew what he did from the day he stepped in, did an entry of appearance to represent me against the county that you represent. Where your loyalty gonna lie? You're a professional. I don't know nothing. I'm a kid. I'm a minority. We paid you the money, trusting you. So I trust you to convict me. And Lada had a 50,000 shot belt around my waist. So just imagine sitting in a place in trial. You're looking at the family, the victim's family, they think you a monster. They think you heinous. They think you crazy. And it hurt me to my heart that I couldn't say, I did not do that. So what I'm trying to state is, with this shot belt around my waist, if I would have said anything, they would have electrocuted me. I don't have a capacity of a heart to take 10 seconds of a 50,000 voltage. So imagine being gagged while they say these despicable things about you and you can't defend yourself. You trust into this counsel and he ain't defending you. And I had to find this out 10 years later that you did this thing, and I'm learning of it now. Right.
And this is a very common problem.
It is.
And not to take away or diminish your own suffering. But I'm learning now that this is a very common problem for those who are misrepresented or maliciously prosecuted, that they are either metaphorically or literally gagged and unable to speak to defend themselves, and they are relying wholly on another individual, a professional,
public official,
right, and a public official, and they're basically handed over on a silver platter. Here you go. Convict you. You can convict my client because I already made my money. I already pocketed, in this case, $90,000. And there's there's over that. There's a record of all of this as well. But this individual, Michael Waldrop, he did work for the city, and that's, in my opinion, that is a conflict. I don't understand how you're going to represent this individual who is fighting the same judicial system and have a clear conscience. I don't understand how that can occur. But again, this telling your story um, is I'm hoping is a catalyst for change. I this is not to just highlight and complain about corrupt officials. This is
True.
about
No, we're not corrupt.
the next step. What do we do now? What can we do now? And as you mentioned earlier, these individuals, the prosecutors, the DA, the judges, these are all elected officials. And if I haven't stated it enough in the past, I'm going to say again, know who is representing your city, your town, your county, your state. Know and communicate with these individuals, with their, see what their campaigns are about, and speak with them.
True.
Definitely be in touch and connect with them so that you can have a better understanding of what their philosophies are, what their intentions are, and hold them accountable to their promises. Hold them accountable and stay on top of them, because otherwise we're just going in blindly and either having an election bought out, or we're going in blindly and just checking a box at the ballot. And that
True.
needs to end. And we need to start being accountable for who's representing us.
And see, you said the main thing, and that's what I was about to bring up, accountability. Just as well as we have to hold ourselves accountable, those officials have to have some type of conscience. Because one thing about it, I'm not trying to convey a religious belief, but there is a God. You're going to be held accountable for all that you have done, no matter who you are. Small, big, black, white, purple, green. Accountability is what we need. And this is why I'm coming for the ones that may not have the boldness to be able to articulate or have the wits or wisdom to be able to be that lawyer. Right. Or to be that paralegal, to be the people's champion, say, you know what, I will stand and fight. Just like John Lewis, he said, make good trouble. God bless the dead. But that's what I was admired when I listened to John Lewis. And I love that man. And God knows no matter what people go through, he showed even those times you were standing. So think about it. What are we going to do? Like you said, accountability.
Right.
So with us being accountable, what about the George Floyd, Breonna Taylors? Let's hold these officials accountable for their action, because they're holding me accountable for something I know for a fact I didn't do. So you want to hold me accountable? So hold yourself accountable for your misdeeds and your misacts.
Right.
Just because you want power, just because you want to stay in position. But what about my family in life? But it's not about me. It's about us coming together and holding accountability to where it's supposed to be. In my opinion, this is why I'm studying to be a paralegal.
Right, and that's
to help the people.
That's what I'm hoping to close out on is what you're doing now and the accomplishments that you're making, even in these terrible conditions, and still you're enduring. It shouldn't take an individual who's been convicted or wrongfully convicted or overcharged or over sentenced for something. It shouldn't take that individual to figure it out and have to fight it. This is what our justice system is supposed to do for us, so that we don't have to backstep. And I just want to commend you for taking that type of action and that approach now. I want to thank you, because by doing so, not only are you helping yourself, but you're saying you want to be the change now and help others.
Right.
And just
I'm not just saying.
Right.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry how they did me. It's about correcting, because many others may not have been able to stand the way I'm standing. Many are called, a few are chosen. But when you are called, like you, Heather, and I really respect everything that you do, it takes a bold individual to come out as you are. And
Thank
that what really shows the light that you have inside of you.
Thank you.
Now you are making a change yourself. So with that being stated, if we have more and more come up and say, look, enough is enough, accountability, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being stated, yes, I'm studying. I have achieved to go through all the processes, filing the courts of pro se litigancy. And with that being stated, I can't take all the credit because one thing about it, Renisha, through a mutual friend, has been a major attribute. Now, my father, he has been a wonderful backbone support. My aunt, and also my other friends as well. I will speak on them before we leave. But the main factor is my father is an elder man. And he always used to tell me, son, never give up. Never give up. You always got a chance. My father right now today is 83 years old. And this is what he shared with me. I have to say this. He told me, the main reason why I fight, I brought so much shame to my family. And I want my family to be clear, to know that I'm not this type of person. So with that being stated, the main thing that my father told me was, hold on, give me a second.
Sure.
Give me a second.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Now, the main thing my father told me was this right here. I'd rather stand by to do something for my child than not to do nothing. For what my father told me, he said, so many people say, I want to do this for my child. You seen what they said, you heard what they said. He said, what if that was your child? What if that was your child? And I understand, this is why I'm speaking for the family. I didn't do this to your child.
Right.
So I want the record to be set straight. Now, after it's been set straight, how one going to proceed or take of it is out there now. I can't change no parts of nothing that's for God to do. And I'm not here to persuade no one. I'm just here to speak from the record. And so with that being stated, having a father, elderly father, in the aspects that I had, that's what kept me strong. Godly parents kept me strong. And me losing my mother, I shedded my tears in 2015. But I said, God, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm never going to give up. Because I'm one of many who lost loved ones through this. Now, some people, they have committed crimes to be here. Don't get me wrong. But it's also some that haven't. So it's just an equal balance. This way you got light and darkness, you got good, you have bad. So the thing about it is you have to have accountability of a balance.
Do you want to share a little bit of your most recent accomplishments? And if anybody is interested in seeing some of this, I'll share with all of you some links so that you can see for yourself Travis's grades and scores because he is studying and he's doing quite well. But I will provide those links for you once we have this up and aired. But go ahead and don't be modest, don't be shy, don't hold back. Let us know what you are doing and your grades.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I want to thank Renisha Scott because she's done everything. From my understanding, she did a petition. She got Just Try Grave on up. She got T-shirts made.
Yes.
So that is a very strong, solid backbone.
Yes. Thank you, Renisha.
I see how God moved.
Yeah.
So I can't take credit on that because I don't have access to social media and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I have to let that be stated now.
And that's how I learned of your story. So thank you. Thank you for getting this out. And thank you so much, Renisha. Thank you for the T-shirt. And we'll provide links to you can't see me, but I think we'll see. We'll find out from our audience how they like it, and we'll let them know how they can get their own T-shirt or other merchandise as well to support your cause. So go ahead. I know you're still avoiding talking about yourself. So
it's funny you say that because I've always been the type of person, I'm selfless, I'm considerate of others. So I'm always in the attribute. I love helping people. Let me just say that. Sometimes I help the wrong people and it took advantage of me.
Yeah.
That's why those altercations I spoke of early of assaults that took place on my life. So I was just a kind-hearted person. I can't help that. That's my weakness sometimes.
If you would just consider that if this is anybody listening, this is their hope. Their hope may lie in you and what you're doing and accomplishing right now. So don't be bashful when it comes to this.
Okay. So with that being stated, I have achieved to learn the appealing process. I learned how to write briefs. I have learned the law. I self-taught myself Latin. For instance, just to give a few words like corpus delicti and noli prosequi and de facto de jure. Now, many may not know what those mean, so I'm just give you one term, inter alia, among other things. But the point is, I prayed and I said, Lord, help me get out. And I said, then the Spirit said, you're not asking the right question. When I said, well, teach me how to obtain my freedom and wealth. And that's when stuff started coming, people start coming to my life, and I started learning the law. I self-taught myself all the way to this point. And those grades that are being seen come from just saying, you know what, either do this or stay in prison or fight. I'm not a quitter. I'm never gonna give up, no matter what. And it takes a bold effort for me to come out because I have said some official names who are in power. Yeah. And like I said, it could have taken my life. Yeah. Hey, I'm trusting and believing God with my faith that this is the moment of time to do this. So with that being stated, I have basically in 2018, after going through all these extensive courts procedures. So let me just start from A to Z. Went to trial in January 2012 from January 23rd all the way to 31st. Was returned a verdict not guilty on count 3, which was rape, and not guilty on count 4, aggravated assault. And now this is the interesting part that triggered my mind. When I was sitting in trial, a lawyer bumped me. He'd say, this whole case got to really supposed to be thrown out. So him being sarcastic. So
he knew this. He knew it should have been thrown out, yet he continued.
Right. So it triggered me. I'm saying, okay, well, if I lose trial, I can prove as long as I just keep fighting. I went to trial, didn't take a plea. So what came to me was like, well, you go to trial, you're going to get life without. If you don't go to trial, you'll get life with. I said, what do I have to lose after you done threatened me with the death penalty, knowing that I did not rape no one, knowing that evidence is speaking to otherwise. So you tried to fear me into taking a plea. As I said, no, on the trial, because I want this to come out. So with that being stated, we lost trial. Now, with that being said, for you to not find me not guilty on one count, or find me guilty on the other, both of them happen at the same time. It's not making sense. So you would think that if I did these acts, why didn't I charge both of them? And both of them had no DNA. So that what sparked me to be who I am today. And from there, February the 1st, 12/12, I was sentenced to full life sentence of 20 years for these despicable charges. So I said, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life. God didn't bring me this far for me to be assaulted on the streets and the aspects of things coming my way. And I could have been killed there. God didn't bring me this far to allow me to die now. And I think about that story with Joseph, if I'm not mistaken, when he was raised up the king, and then the incidents in the Bible saying that he was alleged accusations of the same type of charges, and then he was rose back to power. So that what kept my faith strong. So in March 7, 2012, Counsel Waldrop filed a motion for new trial. And April the 4th, 2012, Waldrop withdrew himself from counsel. Now, mind you, he never supposed to been on my case. So basically, you put the nail in the coffin to make sure I got convicted. So April 20, 2012, that's when I had another attorney by the name of Stephanie R. Myers, who was appointed. For some reason, she stepped down. That's when I was appointed another counsel in March 26, 2013, Melinda Johnson, out of Rockdale County Public Defender Office. Now, I'm not trying to drag anything. I'm going to get straight to the point. And this too, September 13, 2014, a cheating scandal was hit in the county that I was convicted in. Atlanta Journal-Constitution revealed a cheating scandal in Rockdale County. And the cheating scandal came out, and the one who searched my house was one of the investigators that got demoted. Now, as I'm cracking the scales now to show that when they did the illegal search, he got caught cheating and disciplined and demoted. This is the same one that searched my house.
And this is something that we found out about. This is not something that so much of this goes undiscovered. And this is something that was a whole cheating scandal. It was publicized and everything. So with your allegations, right, with your allegations, this just kind of, it fits the bill for this type of individual, or type of official, I should say. It's not beyond their character to do an illegal search, or any, even evidence tampering, or any of that.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
So,
speaking of that, that's when the GBI stated unsealed evidence was received in a crime lab.
right. Yeah, we didn't mention
From
that
what?
earlier. Yeah, unsealed evidence. Unsealed
Correct.
evidence.
So basically from tampering.
Mhm. And isn't there, if I'm not mistaken, a piece of evidence still out there that's untested?
Pillow with my blood on it. And I'm glad you brought this up. It was a pillow that DA Richard Reed published to the jury, and my lawyer never objected to it. So with that being stated, remember I said I had assault 15 staples in my head. I used to use this pillow to sleep on. So it had 3 different specs on it. And from there, me and my ex-fiance then had a dog. So we just gave the pillow to the dog to chew on and whatever. So basically, had they would have tested, would have had dog DNA, and it would have had my DNA.
Right.
But this is the pillow they placed behind, all due respect, the alleged victim that passed away head. So you moved my pillow and put it behind this person's head. Now, this is the thing. This is why I'm pushing the fight and be heard. The DA basically, when I took the stand, but my counsel coached me to fit what the description of the state was saying. And at the time, I didn't understand. I'm trusting him. Now it makes sense because he was a city attorney for me. So with that being stated, I said, well, who blood is on that pillow? Oh, we all know who, this is verbatim. This is what the DA said. We all know who blood it is. Hold up.
How?
Doubt.
How? It wasn't tested. It was never tested. And it's still to this day has not been tested. And
so with that being stated, when I said that, we'll get back to that later. You want to downplay that. So guess what? Why didn't my counsel object to that? Because it was my blood. It would have proved what I'm saying.
Right.
So by my house being illegally searched, the funds and contingencies I had in there is not there. So now it's like, oh, you lured them in and you brutally raped them. All due respect, I'm like, the way they painted the picture, and I got a 50,000 shot belt around my waist. I'm basically gagged. I can't say nothing. It burned me up. I had tears flowing in my eyes when I had to sit there and listen to that. This is why my fight inside of me was never give up. This is why I said, I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna learn this. And now back to what you were saying, these are the accomplishments. I have studied the law, and now I'm working as a paralegal. As a matter of fact, I am basically now halfway through. I'll be certified in October. Lord's willing, don't nothing come my way after this interview comes out. Like I keep saying, it could be a tip, but hey, I'm here now.
We're gonna put that positive energy and protective energy out there for you, because we believe in the truth, and that's what we want to convey. And I want everybody out there to send their positive vibes, positive energy to support this man and keep him safe while he's in a very unsafe place.
Correct. And just to touch back bases on this paralegal, I was watching this show called For Life. Isaiah Wright Jr. I love this guy, man. His story is powerful. I support him. Vote for this man. He, like you stated, know your candidates. I love this man.
Yeah, he's running.
He's really
currently in New York. Yep.
Right. Please vote for him. All listeners, I love this guy. So I'm watching the show For Life, and it was basically produced by Isaiah Wright Jr. and 50 Cent. So I'm watching the interview on television, and it said 50 Cent said basically I went to CBS, that was with it, and brought the story out. So just to give a small attributes to why I'm doing what I'm doing, this guy went in, studied the law, helped people get out, became a paralegal, and got out and became an attorney and got himself out. So and at the time I'm studying, I'm working on my case, helping the ones that I could help, you know. And with that being stated, I'm watching the show, and then Nisha said, babe, once you start your legal pursuit. I'm like, well, I got too much time. I'm in the courts. I'm filing my state Hague. I'm filing my Supreme Court Hague, federal Hague, which I have done all these things. So just to let it be known that I went from state Hague representing myself for 3 hours. I cross-examined Michael Wald counsel, and also cross-examined my aunt. All due respect, she the one who filed the warrant. I would have not made it this far had I not had the support from her as well. She basically mailed me all of my transcripts. They wouldn't give me nothing. She had to go to the public defender, appellate attorney office, Linda Johnson, to get all my records and mail it to me piece by piece. I had to basically muscle my way and teach myself to get to this point. So had it not been for my aunt, for them to keep saying I don't have a warrant, she located it. So with that being stated, when I watched this show, this guy got himself out. And so Renisha said, babe, you got it. And she supported me. She's the one that's paying for these courses. She's the one she sees what I may not can see. I'm just seeing.
She sees your potential.
Get out. You know, I'm just in the attributes, just getting out. And she's saying, no, you got it. I'm like, babe, I'm not concerned about having it. I'm just concerned about getting out and helping. Because I know what the system is. I know how it feels to be the one. If you don't have commissary, you got to sleep when you don't have nothing to eat at night. You might go to the hole and you don't have no clothes or nothing. You don't know how the officer's going to treat you because of your charges and put your life in potential danger. And now I understand this. I don't want another kid to go through this and their parents not knowing. So if I can be able to assist and help, that's what I wanted to do because I know what it feels like. So with that being stated, she started the process. So when she started it, she said, baby, you got it. You're going to be able to flow through it. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I hear you. So anyway, I have my GED. I got it twice. Since I've been out, I got my GED twice. So I'm bored. In school, my aunt used to tell me, this is funny now, I got to tell you something about myself. She would say, my teacher would say he has it, but it's just boring to him. And me, the type of person I am, if it's not challenging or anything of the nature, it's not gonna keep my attention. So anyway, as I start taking these courses, it's like 95, 100. My first grade was a B. So from there, I'm a straight A student. I'm above average. So it's a 95 and 100. So now it's like when I get the courses, to many that see it's like, wow, like to me, it's like, okay, I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. What's gonna make me wow when I'm actually this paralegal and I'm helping someone and winning a case? That's gonna make me say, wow. You know, right now I'm in training. So in training, it just what is in a person will come out. You never know what you made of until your back is pushed against the wall. Either you're gonna bend, you're gonna fold, or you're gonna stand solid, or you're gonna stand as a stand-up person. So I didn't give in. And so now it speaks what's coming out of me. And this is my calling, I believe, to help others to be in this position, because look at the things that's going on in society. Look at the tears of so many of the George Floyds, Breonna Taylors, and so on and so on and so on and so on, to the point where we have Black Lives Matter. Now we have attributes of athletes coming out, standing with us, people seeking justice because of their injustice. So now don't be an issue to keep causing problems, be more contributing to help the problem and not allow it to continue to flow. So that's where I'm standing with it. So with that being stated, I want to stand with the justice and with the ones that are public officials who stand on the same thing and not afraid because of the power and saying, if I don't do this, I'm gonna be moved out of power. Sometimes you got to stand up for someone, you're gonna fall for anything. And I'm standing for something. And so one thing about I can say, if it is my time to leave this earth, one thing I can say, I made my mark. And I'm going to go see my mother. And I'm going to go see my first child, which was a preemie. So now I have confidence what I'm doing. And guess what? If one thing can't stand, I'll stand for you. You never know how I make my back. So that's the whole point of me being a paralegal. And again, I say I will be certified in October.
Beautiful.
And with that being stated, Brian, thank you. And with that being stated, I have caught the attention of Bridge to Justice. Now I have a legal team behind me. And it's a beautiful thing.
That's great news. And that just happened. That just happened.
I was recently.
Exactly. So that, it's all, you're attracting your good things, all the things that you're manifesting in your life. You're attracting all of this now by putting out the positive energy and putting in the work. You have the desire, but you're also putting in the work, and we're seeing the results with your grades, and thank you, because I look forward to having you as part of our justice system. I look forward to that.
Indeed.
And we're counting on you. Our society is counting on you. So, I'd like to end on that note, that positive note, with all of the good things that you are doing and what you are contributing, even from behind bars. You're doing a lot, and you're doing a lot of good. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you telling your story. This is, I hope that this goes, and speaks to individuals who may be suffering the same sort of fate, and give them hope, and maybe a little direction as well. If they have the same desire in them, and that spark, they can contribute as well, and really be the change that we need. Right.
Exactly.
So, go ahead. Did you want to say something else?
Yes, because I know we're going to close out. And I want to say again, I want to thank you so much, Heather, for giving me this opportunity and believing, because could you imagine so many years of being called despicable names, and society's like, oh my God, don't even mention, basically won't even hear, not, hey, I love you, coming from a type of individual, and what they are speculating that this was being, I'm sorry, I'm gonna slow down. Sometimes I get ahead of myself, of being convicted. So with that being stated, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And yes, this is why I'm fighting. And with that being stated, I just want to say, you got to keep God first, because he can bring you through anything. Never give up is universal. You could have lost a parent, you could have lost a child, rent may not be coming in, or anything other attribute. You could be going through cancer. Fight. Never give up. Reverence God, and he will lead you. A wise man holds his tongue, but a fool screams all in his heart. So one thing about it, when I study my belief, not posing nothing on no one, that's why, from my understanding, Renisha has put them back in the shirts. And this is what I told her, Proverbs 18:17. Any story sounds true until someone tells the other side, and set the record straight.
There you
I
go.
thank you for allowing me to come today to set the record straight.
Well, thank you for doing that. And thank you, Renisha, too, for your support. There is an interview with Renisha, and we'll provide links to that as well. It's just kind of her perspective as a loved one. And we can provide links to that as well. But yeah, thank you, and keep up, with what you're doing. You're inspiring many. You see that you're getting the attention of a lot of people now. You're getting our attention.
I don't know. I'm curious to see one day.
You will. You'll see it. You will see it, and I'm certain that a lot of others will benefit from your hard work as well. So thank you so much. I want you to stay safe where you are as you can. Definitely. And keep us posted through your loved ones as they share your story and your accomplishments through social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I do that through Renisha. And I do want to say this too. All the evidence from my understanding, Renisha has basically put it on Just for Trash Raybone. So everything I have said tonight, I work through her, so I give her all my evidence, and she goes and, she has a life. And, I thank her so much for doing what she's doing, to be able to post everything on that page. I have not seen it yet. I can't wait to sell. Like I said, I'm working and working.
Well, she's doing it.
Okay. And before I close out, I want to get attributes and thanks first and foremost to God, my father, Johnny Raybone, never giving up on me, my aunt, Minnie Brown. And I also want to say thank you, Renisha, for so much love and support. I want to thank my day ones as well, India Lee, one of my closest best friends, strictly mutual. She's a fighter. And I want to thank my best friend. He's like a brother to me, London Childs. Again, I say London Childs. He's been knowing me since I was 13. And, you know, he's right here with me. And he never missed a beat once we made contact with each other. I love him. That's my brother. He's like a brother to me. And that's my best friend. I also want to give a shout out to my man Armani. I thank you, my brother, for he can share some things on the attribute characteristics of the person that has passed, because he know of, and he told me, he said, look, man, stop doing sewing on, you're gonna get caught up. I'm like, no, that's like a little sister to me. No, I don't believe that. Had I would have listened to him, he said, see, I told you.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I'm not trying to badger no one, but one thing about it, I never called these actions. And again, I want to thank everyone I shouted out to, my loved ones, my family too, my relatives, and my other cousin, Yolanda, who's here and supporting as well. So with that being stated, if I left anyone out, you know, I love you, and I thank God for each and every one of you, and I thank God for you too, Heather, for allowing me again to speak my piece. And that now I can honestly say I have peace in my heart about this whole situation. Sky's the limits, and be looking for a paralegal who will fight for you. And I do want to state this before I go. If God bless, when he bless, and I become and get this thing all overturned, I am going to law school. One of my legal professional attorneys already advised to say, look, you go to law school, I will tutor you for free. So that's my goals, is to become an attorney. So keep prayers up and pray I win this case, and how things turn out, I'm here to help. Just know that.
All right. Well, you have my support, and the best of everything to you going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis.
All right. God bless.
All right. You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching Pros and Cons. I want to invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. Please share your opinions and views and your stories as well. Just continue to support this show, this podcast. Again, thank you for watching Pros and Cons. I'm Heather Trentacosta.